one of the veteran guys, you and Matt.
It's weird to say that I'm a veteran of the offensive line. All throughout the offseason, Coach Mick and the entire strength staff, and now the O staff, like, hey, like, you're a veteran now. You gotta do the things the right way the first time, and lead the young guys to do the right thing, so they're not repeat offenders. So it's definitely a new role to try to, like, show everyone what to do, because obviously, like, it's not easy coming to Ohio State. High school to Ohio State is a whole different speed. So just trying to teach the young guys to make sure everyone's on the same page. So we have great practices and keep stacking days.
You're going to have a new player to your left and to your right. Tell me what you see from Josh for one, and then what you see at center.
With Josh, I had previously already had Josh. My freshman year, I worked with Josh a lot, and even now that chemistry's kind of boiled over to this year. We're always staying in constant communication, because that's what you have to do when you're working with someone new. You have to be on the same page, so you have to over communicate to where the point where it's second nature. So just trying to build chemistry with Josh all over again, and with the centers, the guy inside me, we're working hard every day, trying to make sure we're on the same page. You have to have a strong inside if you want to get anything done. So making sure that there's no leaks and cracks in the O line in the middle.
We've heard a lot about Carson Hinsman. What can you tell us about working with him? How he can kind of lead at the center position?
Carson's very smart. He's always asking for tips to progress his way of watching film, to tips of way of IDing plays correctly, make sure not only the O-line but the Qs and the RBs are on the same page as well. So Carson's taking strides in the right direction. I'm excited to see him grow. This is what second practice of us hitting. He's already making good strides of what he can become. He's just trying to stack days.
Were you expecting to stick at the guard position, or did you ever think maybe I should slide over to tackle?
I just wanted to how I answer. I just wanted to be the best offensive lineman I could be. Obviously, like there were talks of seeing what I could do, but we have fantastic tackles as it is, and so I felt our Coach Fry and I felt like it was probably best for me to stay at guard. There's no worries at our tackle spots. They're doing a great job, better than I could have. So just staying at guard and trying to put more stuff on tape, trying to be better at guard than I was last year, because there were a lot of stuff I could have worked on last year. So I'm trying to clean it up now this year.
When did you and Coach Fry have that discussion about should we try tackling? Was it after last season?
It was probably the beginning of winter. It was just he was just asking me where I was at. And so we just had an honest conversation, and we just put what's best for the O-line. I'm an offensive lineman. I'm not classified as an interior or anything like that. I'll play wherever I have to play. And Coach Fry said, just stay at guard, and I'll stay at guard if he tells me.
Was that conversation, hey, Donovan, what would you like to do? Was it him saying, hey, this is what we're going to do? How did that conversation start?
It was just kind of him feeling out what my opinions were. It was just, hey, like, if this happens, would you do this? And it was just me just being honest. And we just had a conversation with him and our GA, and we just worked from there and try to put the best five guys up front.
Is that sort of a break glass in case of emergency option, do you think? I mean, obviously the goal here is to have Tegra or Zen at right tackle and have Josh at left. But if you said the conversation went, if this happens, is that still a possible thought, I guess, as you move through spring and into summer?
Well, the conversation was just putting the best five guys up front. We're just trying to keep the quarterbacks clean, the running backs having yards. So whatever way we can do it, we're going to do it. So that's basically how the conversation went.
How has the transition from guard to tackle gone for Tegra so far here in the spring?
I feel like Tegra's made great strides. He's changed his body for the better. He's light on his feet. He's better with his hands. Way better with his hands. So that was a good point of emphasis for him coming into this year's work with his hands better. I feel like he's improved leaps and bounds. So I'm excited to see what he does throughout the rest of the spring and into the fall.
What do you feel like his natural kind of position is? Do you think he's better suited for tackle, or is that just something they're kind of trying out?
I think he's better suited for offensive line. I feel like he would excel anywhere we put him. It just happens right now he's at tackle and he's doing a great job.
Can I ask just a general offensive line question? What is the bigger adjustment for an offensive line? Is it moving from left side to right side, right, for instance, or is it moving inside to outside, from guard to tackle? You know what I mean? Like, is
Yeah.
it the side of the line or is it position inside outside is the bigger adjustment?
For me personally, I would say it's moving from left to right because you have to rewire your brain. So like if we call a play that's zone left and now you're on the right, you gotta think of, okay, now I have to do that. I'm not leading the play. I'm not on the back. Now on the back side of it. And it's when you get in your stance and you switch sides, it's a little off. So you have to like work your way into it again. So I would definitely say it's switching sides more than anything else.
Okay. When you look at your film from last year, do you think, man, I killed it? Look at me, I was a young guy, I was doing great, right? First year as a starter. Or do you look at it and say, man, I can do this a little bit better, that a little bit better? What did you think of last year?
I would say I'm definitely my biggest critic. You know, it's something that Coach Fry told me to not be so hard on myself for, but I definitely think I could have done way better. There are a lot of instances where if I would have done something different, the play would have improved by another 5 yards, or it would have had touchdowns instead of a first down. So I look at myself very critically. I look at myself what I could have done better. Obviously, yeah, I appreciate the stuff I do well, but I'm more critical of myself of what I can do better.
Why you like that?
It's just more of a perfectionist attitude. I feel like just never staying complacent, because I feel like complacency is the downside of all of us. You know, it's when the human element kicks in of like exhaustion, or oh, that was good enough, or anything like that. If I eliminate the mindset of oh, it's good enough, then I feel like I can be better as a player, because I feel like no matter how good you are, there's always room to improve. And so I hold myself up to a standard. If I don't hit that standard, I look at the film, I look at what I can do better. I talk to my coaches, I communicate back to my teammates to see what I can do better to help the team and the O-line.
What stood out about Josh Fryer since he's moved to taking over the left tackle spot?
Just his overall communication with me. You know, where it's difficult playing next to someone different, and so we're making sure we're always communicating, make sure we're always on the same page, so we flow on the side we're on. So oftentimes, like, you look at someone and you can tell like they're not communicating well with the person next to them. So I feel like Josh and I are doing a great job of being on the same page. And Josh has always been very physical. He's always gotten after it. So I'm not worried about is the tackle gonna be there for me? I know he's gonna be there for me.
As you work on that communication, is that something you do on the field as well as in, like, as you give me saying, how do you work on that communication both on the field and off?
It's on the field and off. You know, we're in a technological age, so it's always a quick FaceTime, or he'll send the play over and say, like, hey, like, what were you thinking here, so I know how to adjust. And even now we were doing drills, and he was like, hey, like, I saw you do this, I'll do this to adjust to it. And I'll be like, no, you were fine. I need to do this to stay firmer. And so always tinkering to make sure we're putting out the best product.
Real fast, Carson Hinsman, what stood out about him over the month so far?
I feel like Carson's really grown over this past month. You know, coming in as a guy who asks a lot of questions and now putting it out on the field. You know, even today, like, he asked a question in a meeting, and then today he put it out on the field. So having that constant growth is what sets Carson apart. You know, I'm looking forward to seeing what he does in the spring.
Thanks, man.
Speaking of which, Carson Hinsman.
Yeah.